Okay. Call to order the Lapel Town Council workshop for May 20th, 2026. We take a roll call. We do, haven't done a workshop in quite a while, so.
We don't have to have minutes. Chad Blake.
Present.
Lindsay Washmuth. Here. Roger Faust.
Here.
Christy Workman.
Here.
All right.
Have William Kane as our legal counsel.
Yes, closer. There's the roof. So the purpose of the workshop, we are not here to discuss any business, take any action, any of those things. This is an opportunity for us to gather in public and discuss anything that we have that we need to work on as a group. So typically these workshops are done around budget time, or when something big is going on that we need to work on. This one has been requested just as an overall to help us as a council gel together, communicate better, and become more efficient and help be more effective for the public. So as the person that's been here for 6 years and is old and stubborn, I look forward to hopefully learning some things today. So with that said, this was requested by Miss Christie, so I'm going to turn the floor over to Christie.
I got it, but the YouTube is down. We had that problem during the planning commission. I don't know if it matters since we're not voting.
It is recording and says it's live and says we have 2 viewers.
Oh,
So-
okay. All right, well then, it's on your side.
So right now it's working according to us. As far as we know, everything I have tells me it's working.
IT guy says it's on your side.
Oh, there we go.
She's familiar with that.
Now, a completely
Control
different,
Alt Delete.
in informative side note, I received a notification that the software that we use to broadcast these is going up in price 5-fold. So Chad's looking for a different software to use. So yay.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Okay. So one of the things that I noticed right away is that we don't have a good way to communicate who's working on what, which I understand there are some concerns around, not having meetings outside of meetings. So, and there's some rules around that, but I was hoping that we could maybe create, especially since we have Jenny, maybe we could either create a document or funnel through Jenny, just maybe a weekly update of what's been going on, like things that have happened, complaints, things like that, so we can put it in one document that can be distributed to everyone, so everyone's on the same page with updates on what's going on. That way I'm not sending Will emails asking what's going on when he's already updated someone else who hasn't had time to update somebody else who hasn't.
So just real quick, Will,
Yeah.
I know one of the things like at work, we use Teams or SharePoint as kind of a depository that if all of us are working on something, that would actually probably create an open door issue for us that it could create.
So short answer, yes, we can have internal memos and whatnot that's updating, but as far as working collaboratively, like on a document or like what we're going, I don't know, what we're trying to marry the two ideas here. So we could get updates from our town manager and what's going on in the town, but anything that we would have to take action on, we can't work together. We can get updates and memos, but like
I don't always know what's going on, so I think we need to go one step back from that. Like, how can we all collaborate on a document?
And that was my question
or
on
something.
collaborate. If we were collaborating on a document, my concern would be an open door. But I understand your point. If Chad met with so-and-so, how do you know about that, or how does anybody else know about that?
Let me clarify it. So the open door violation would be if in that collaborative document, a decision was made to take action, even if the decision was to take action at the next meeting.
right, can't do
So-
something like that.
So as long as all you're doing is saying, hey, I got a call today from a citizen about, cars illegally parked in front of the post office, sent a work order. Hey, I met with, the chief of police today about, speeding on 10th Street or whatever, you know what I mean? That is a report out, that is a factual statement, that is not
Right,
I think we should do this.
exactly. And so long as it was framed that way, just like facts, you wouldn't have a problem. Yes, Chad?
So, well, no, this is just my brain. So if we had something that didn't give us the opportunity to discuss, but we went in and went into the little form
Like a shared
Typed it.
spreadsheet.
and it put it in there so that everybody could just see the update,
Right, yeah, that would be.
but not a forum where there's discussion.
Yeah, they can't discuss, and I guess in that same vein, just so we're all on the same page, just factual updates and not like, oh, I don't like that, or give opinions on those facts. Then that starts to become, well, if this were to come to a vote, I clearly didn't like that, so that you come up
So-
on that line.
How about this? How about if, just a thought, what if we just on whatever day is convenient, we all send an update by that day to Lisa, no more than 200 words, like nothing out of control. I
Send her a
will-
tweet.
Yeah. And runs through her and we give her an outline of, it can't be this, 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 or this. And then she filters it. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Do you think,
I trust all of you guys to do it on a document, and if we have issues, then I would bring them up. So long as we're not putting opinions or how we feel about something, then that's completely acceptable, and I do think it's a good idea. Also, of course, keeping in mind that it becomes a public document and is subject to a records request, which I don't think any of us have a problem with, just
no, I
thoughts to
mean,
keep in the back of the head.
if it was an update about something that was covered under, the executive rules, we could always redact that in the public record.
When I met with Dax Denton, we went over this because I told him it's been kind of a struggle for us all to figure out who communicates, what are the lines and what are the protocols. What they have is a form where any of us could fill it out. Like today, the bank called, they need to close down 2 lanes of traffic on, next Friday. So right now, I would fire up that form, I would put what it was, and I would log it.
It's just a web form.
It's
And that's
just a form,
beautiful,
and
then it goes
everybody
into a
can see the
database
form.
and you can see it.
The
Yeah.
equivalent of a news system. Like,
Exactly.
So
it's completely fine, and I encourage it.
And it's automated, so it relieves.
So long as it doesn't have the opinion or anything like
Sorry.
that.
No commentary,
No, it would just
no
be like,
editorial section.
I told them they don't need a right of way, they need to have a flagger and cones, here's the contact info if anyone needs it. Now, I think if we, sign up with one of the programs we've been looking at, which one would be TownWorks or one would be iWork, that kind of thing's built in. So we would have an ongoing log, and the best thing too would be 9 months from now when I get a similar call, I will be like, oh.
How did I do it last time?
Yeah.
Yeah, last time we did this. way.
Sorry, Roger, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, it was almost like a form that you would, I'm just thinking like when you send out like a Word document or something and it would just say view only. But
Yeah,
certain people would have to be able to edit. I mean, you want to not edit
Yeah.
it, but
I think,
I didn't know that we had a program we were looking at. You know what I mean? That would do. that
Yeah, we
for
have
us.
a few options. There's, like I said, part of our Microsoft Office thing, is it comes with SharePoint and some forms that you can do. Like we use it at work to collect data on vehicle inspections. The guys go on their phone and they go, yes, the tire pressures are all good. This is all good, windshield's not cracked. And then it just sends an email and we can go in and go, okay, what's the status of all our vehicles? Go in and look. On this day, it was low on oil. 2 weeks ago, it was low on oil. Is that within Ford's allowable lack of oil? So, yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
and then that way too.
Oh, wait, I'm giving commentary.
Everybody knows what's going on, so people aren't working on top of each other, things aren't getting dropped if, somebody's, if I'm working on something, I don't have time, I'd call Jenny and say, Jenny, I don't have time to do this, is there someone else can pick it
Well, I
up?
mean, I think it's nice just because somebody's working on something and they leave or whatever
You
the
have
case
a
may be.
record.
There's somebody who can go back and say, okay, this is what was done before.
Where
This is
were
a
we?
starting
What was
point.
going
This is a
on?
contact person. This is, gives you somewhere to start. You're not
Yeah.
starting from fresh every time either.
adding to that, it would also give, I know, Jenny and I have been having weekly meetings on like setting up a to-do list for things for us to work on. It would help with that process as well. So I'm 100% for it. Just having a to-do list, admittedly a long to-do list, but such is the way, would be a huge step forward.
Which really drives to the next point, which is setting priorities, right? Like, so, yeah, we all are liaisons to specific departments, though there are some things that I've got some questions about who does what. And then that would help too, to make it clear what the priorities are for Jenny, what she's working on. So if I've got something she's working on, I can, or if I have a question, or you know what I mean? And likewise, if she's gotta be out or whatever, Lisa can know what she's working on and what the priorities are and find how she can assist and so on. Just my thought process around that. But anyway, and then the next question that I had was, so there are some things that it just seems like, so here's my perception, which may not be everyone's reality, but it was my perception. So when I came in, the first thing I did was I met with everybody. I met with all the department heads. I met with all the council members. I bugged the hell out of Teresa. I bugged Will for a while. Sorry, William for a while. And here's the general assumption that I've seen, which is unless it's assigned to somebody, Teresa does it. That's what I got out of that. So there seems like there's a lot of things that shouldn't necessarily be Teresa's responsibility that kind of are. Understand, I am not saying that you are not qualified to do any of those things.
Right.
I'm just
But they're not
saying
my responsibility.
they're not really your responsibility.
Exactly.
So like, one example, the first thing I ran into is like building maintenance. I don't think the clerk treasurer should be the person directing like when the HVAC needs serviced and when the windows need cleaned. She shouldn't be out there with a squeegee and.
Who got her a squeegee?
Are we still giving her those
Mike-
Dollar General
Mike
paper
did
towels?
when he went to,
That's
and
nice.
then I went and fixed the mini blinds, and then I went and washed and
Yeah, those should be more like office manager type things and I just
Well,
want,
and
Well,
that is me.
she is our designated office manager.
okay.
So,
No, she shouldn't have to go clean it.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. But
And that,
then,
that's a delegation thing.
and, well, and not, and Diane has done it, but that is another thing we can't talk about in this meeting, but will be brought up, so.
but I was just thinking like there are some things like, for example, right now, like I'm just curious, and this is not to start talking, but who actually runs utilities and is the liaison to utilities with Councilman Shuck in absentia?
Right now, it is Councilman Shuck, but the day-to-day falls on Brandon for the actual everything. And then he works directly with Jenny
Okay,
to make sure that priorities are being followed, what things need to be taken care of, all of those things. Because that is one of the roles of the town manager, is to oversee the utilities.
okay,
So,
May I would say with regard to that, I think having a better delineation of who does what with utilities would be great. Because
Okay.
I'm not clear, I would like to see the office manager job description, because I don't know what the office manager is supposed to do and not do. And also, I think my job description is in conflict with the real intent of who does what, and I think it should be aligned. It should be what you want, with a clear delineation of who does what.
I wouldn't disagree with that, so.
yeah, I think that would make things move a lot more smoothly if everybody, I mean, forgive me if this is just sounds crude because it's not intended to be, but I think everybody would have an easier time staying in their lane if they really 100% understood where their lane was. And I think there's a lot of not clear, like ambiguity. And I'm not even talking just to like the employees. I mean, even like Like, for example, I've been real interested in parks and I'm constantly like asking Roger and Katie, is that okay? You know, or if I ask Jenny about something, I forget sometimes to copy Katie, and then sometimes if I copy Katie, I forget to copy Roger, so, and I'm totally out of my lane, I know I am, but if there's something I can do to help somewhere, I wanna help, so I just think it's easier, you know, if everybody knows exactly who does what, so they can go right to where they need to go. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Would that look like an org chart then, or would?
I think an org chart would be a really good start.
Yeah.
So I have started at Jenny's request in org chart, and this was, months ago, like when we were first brought on together. We started that process, and it's been a hoot figuring it out, but it's getting very close to finalized, and I would love to put that in wherever we decide to do our updates there, because I know people request that org chart. I think, like you guys indicated, it would help just things run smoother, and
It would, but I think it goes beyond an org chart. I think it even
For sure.
goes down, because let's face it, we're not big enough. Like that office, for example, is not big enough to be a union shop. We can't have somebody saying, oh, that's not my job description today. You know, there are times it's all hands on deck. And I get that when you work in a small office. So there has to be a mutual understanding as well, like who's responsible, so if something doesn't get done, we know who to hold accountable, but also in a mutual understanding that sometimes it's all hands on deck. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think, is there a professional code of conduct already established? I know that Dax came up with some guidelines, but I'm just curious, is there one for,
So that was never adopted.
I know. know.
So that doesn't mean we can't review that original
and that's something
document,
we should look at.
update it, you know, because it was met with such initial public backlash,
Yeah, backlash, so,
that we abandoned it.
okay,
But that doesn't mean that we can't go back and review. And most of the backlash came from, this is from someone that is not a town employee, they're a consultant, they're coming in and trying to put their will on us, you know, they're
yeah,
doing all that kind of thing. So I think if it was owned more by us, and implemented, that it would go over better with the public.
yeah,
But also, you know, for us on the council, you know, we walk a really weird thin line in a small town, all right? As a liaison, you know, I am in no way, shape, or form the supervisor of the police department.
mhm,
I have some statutory requirements that would normally be reserved for a police commissioner as the liaison to the police department. But that pretty much just goes to, I have to sign off on the officers, you know, they're swearing in and their license. And they all have a little card that has my name on the back. But at the end of the day, that's it. You know, I don't work with Kelly other than when he has a budgetary question or anything like that. We're there as liaisons. We're their direct line of communication. All right, at the end of the day, to budgetary concerns or, hey, we've got a policy question, can I get with legal on this? But we are not meant to do the day-to-day operations as elected officials. In our small little world, if we didn't do those things, a lot of times things wouldn't progress. 6 years ago, there was there were two people on the council 6 years ago that really were trying to make a difference and do good things. The rest of the council showed up for their 2-hour meetings a month. And that's all they did. There was no involvement. The whole world could have been falling apart and on fire around it. So there was a change that got people more involved. And the problem is, you know, a lot of times in a lot of situations, we got more involved and we got too deeply involved to where then it became reliant on us to direct and do all those things. And that's where the town manager position became very important. It's like, there has to be somebody responsible for the day-to-day. You know, our job as elected officials is to do the business of the people. That requires us to do the business. If it's something that has to be voted on, you know, whether it be a resolution, an ordinance, or making sure that the budget is right so the court treasurer can actually pay the bills. That's where we're in that weird flux, because to your point about Teresa, before we had a town manager, who did everything? Well, the court
Right.
treasurer and the town council president did everything, and then you had whoever was the utility liaison acted as their manager and was doing those things, and not necessarily in the way that we needed to. And I'm talking about everybody that's been a utility liaison, because that one's been the revolving door. Because typically there was no proactive, everything was reactive to the situation and we were doing the thing. So that's where we're in a position now with Jenny. We should be on the move forward and getting those things taken care of.
So I'm not talking about granular to the level of employee discipline, or, that's not what I mean. Here's what I mean. There's a movie, and I can't remember which one it was, because honestly, I don't care, but
But there was a thing you remember.
the theory is attitude reflects leadership. So ultimately, however, the staff from, department head, and I do mean even at the department head level on down, whatever they see or believe or perceive to be professional behavior from us is what they're going to assume is the standard. So what I'm saying is, there should be some basic, unilateral understanding that everyone at the top agrees, this is how we're going to behave. We are going to be professional. This is what that looks like. And these are basic behaviors that we're not going to tolerate. And I'm not talking about any specific incident or any specific person, but there's been times, I know myself, there have been times in the last, 5 years that I have engaged situations where I've literally been livid as a citizen. And there's been times that I have witnessed things where I'm like, that did not just happen. And I just feel like if we're going to move forward, we have to all make a commitment to a vision of what that looks like. And I guess that's what I'm saying is like, at some point we need to have a conversation about that, because there may be things that come up that you think are okay that I don't, and that in the public's eye, they may not think it's okay, but we think's all right, and I think there just needs to be a general discussion around that at some point. Like, I don't think there should ever be, disrespect in front of a vendor from the highest to the lowest level. Shouldn't happen. I don't think there should be disrespect anyway, but I do understand that everybody is emotionally involved in the outcomes of these things. But never in front of someone that we hire. We should never be putting somebody in that position. Likewise, there should be, discord at any level. There should be an open door of who we can talk to and how we can talk things out and work things out, that kind of thing. Because things can get toxic quick and they can get embarrassing quick. And if we're focused on the wrong things, we're going to miss big opportunities.
And that's one of our biggest opportunities, I won't lie. It started very bad with LKQ, and then spiraled a little bit out of control to the point where companies don't even approach us anymore.
What do we learn from LKQ?
What did we learn from LKQ? Boy.
Other than PTSD, what did we come away from LKQ? There have to be big lessons. You can't go through something that traumatic and not come out the other side and say, well, we shouldn't have done that.
And that's a very,
There's a lot.
there's a whole spectrum.
But we learned
of
things, right?
Oh, yes, we did. And, that's one that, in the short, sweet answer, a member of the council engaged with someone to help find and bring some attention to Lapel. And that person did a lot of their own work in the background. And when it got to us, it was, whoa, what are you doing? Can't go there. And the problem is it was too far along. by the time it got there. Whereas if there would have been more open discussion, more people would have been involved before it ever got to the point where a blueprint was set up. It would have been, hey, that's probably not gonna work. You're gonna have a lot of people angry.
I mean, my personal thought is if somebody approaches any of the council members, I would just say, I don't know if you wanna say, put it in an email and just say, hey, I have a person interested. Can we get them on the agenda for a presentation? Here's kind of the overview.
Yep.
They're,
If that happened,
but I'm saying, they're this type of business.
and the person is Jenny for that, because she's supposed to be our salesman. She's our cheerleader for Lapel of, hey,
Right.
come to Lapel.
But
and
that's what I'm
then-
saying, like, if they would
work
approach
with
you,
them.
you would email Jenny or
I
say,
would
hey,
email
here's
Jenny.
Jenny's information, get a hold of her.
Yep.
Or that's what I
That's
would
the
say.
right place to start. Yep.
I think that's one thing we've learned is to
I sell signs.
not just do all the work and then present it, bring it to the, let them
Correct.
present their own information.
And that's exactly why I wanted to push for some form of mutual communication, so we don't end up where we've already been in the 5 minutes I've been on the council at least twice, where somebody was doing something no one else knew about and everybody else got pissed off when they found out, right? So it's so much better if you just know that's going on. Everybody understands why it's being done, what's being done. And if there's a concern that there's an overreach or an overstep, you have an opportunity to say something about it before it becomes a fiasco. Right? Like, thoughts on that? That was the whole
No,
purpose here.
that's,
And,
what's the word for that? Logical. That's what it is.
and then everybody also feels included, because let's face it, there are times that we get really busy in our real lives. And I say our real lives because we all have jobs and, we're all in leadership in some aspect. And there's times that it's so busy, you go a week or two and you don't even have time to do more than read your email, so this way we'll know. We'll have, when you have 10, 15 minutes, you can stop and look and see what's going on,
I really like the forum idea,
Mhm.
even though I'm not giving an opinion or anything
I don't
right
know,
now.
on policy, we can, on internal policy,
Yeah, I
that's
mean-
what this meeting is for. We can have
This
strong
is just a
opinions on
blueprint
what to
of
implement.
who we're gonna be and how we're gonna get there. That's it. That's just like talking about how we can make things more functional, make things more, streamlined, eliminate some manual processes and, confusion and whatever.
On the conduct, I think we can pull from the employee manual to kind of get an idea of what we do have in place and then go from there to talk about how we want to maybe expand that or refine it. With regard to communications on development, I have not had a lot of serious inquiries. The inquiries I get are kind of like this. What kinds of things are you interested in? And I've been telling everyone, we would be open to any ideas, please throw them. I don't know what will happen with them, but we want ideas and we are open to new things. So I would need to work if there are specific requirements for what you need to know, because a lot of times I won't be told who the company is. And also the company will not want to come forward with a proposal because they're looking at several other places. You know what I mean? So they're gonna want to have at least an idea of whether this area would be appropriate. So I don't wanna know things other people don't know on the council. Like, I don't think that's good policy for me to be in that position because I don't wanna be accused, or thought that I hide things. But I do think we would have to agree that there are some times when something's just not ready yet.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
I wasn't here for LKQ, so I don't have a
Oh,
reference
I
point.
wasn't either.
Sister, did you miss a party?
What do you mean by that? Explain to me then.
So if you have a company, for example, that's just kind of thinking they might be looking at coming here, but say they're a publicly traded company and they have to be very careful about like their decision-making and how they release information or something like that.
They might be looking at an area, but come to find out, that might not be the area that we would want them, right?
Right.
So then they've done all this and, did this presentation, like, well, that's not gonna work. So now everybody knows that they're looking.
And that's-
Stepping in for, from a legal standpoint, in that same vein, say huge company wants to come in and they come to Jenny, she spreads it out, word gets out, and then all the farmers over there are now not selling for 30,000 an acre, they're selling for 200,000
Yeah,
an
yeah,
acre.
that makes sense.
And then we are liable for, stuff like that. So we gotta be careful not to do anything prematurely, so that's a very
Well, and
valid
I
concern.
think the point Chad was getting at is when the whole LKQ thing came down, the council, the rest of the council had no clue.
Yeah.
I found out the night we voted on it.
Yeah.
And that's what I was
That's
saying.
what, the point he was trying to make is.
Yeah, it was, one
literally did
one
not.
person was doing all
Oh, I
the
know.
legwork.
And that's why I was saying,
And
if they
I
come to us
only knew
personally,
because
go
he,
somewhere.
that councilman decided to meet with all these people for a big meeting across the street from where town hall was. And I worked
So.
in there at the time.
So here's a good example, though, of where this gets to be that touchy subject. Who wants to know about the data center that tried to come to Lapel?
Yeah, I've heard about that.
This was years ago, and we learned about it after Duke told them it'll be 10 years before we can have that much power there. And it's just like, whew, dodge a bullet on that one. But they met with 30 farmers trying to, without telling them what it was, they were trying to get like 400 acres pulled together down off the interstate. So, but that's the kind of thing that if someone would have said the word data center, you know,
It would've-
you would have started
yeah.
the whole circus.
What would be nice to know though, especially, and I'm gonna address this as a planning liaison, it would be nice to know, hey, we had a couple of inquiries. Didn't go anywhere yet, I'll let you know if it becomes something.
Right.
Because otherwise you just assume it's crickets and you don't know if what you're doing is making a difference. And I will tell you that this is something I'm gonna bring up and not for anyone to give an opinion or take any action on, but it is something that I think we need to consider discussing in the near future, maybe at the next meeting. And I can bring it up during council member comments and concerns. So there is a real disconnect between what the members of the council independently seem to want for the State Road 13 corridor, what the members of the planning commission believe should be in the State Road 13 corridor, what just about every resident I talk to believes should happen with the State Road 13, and what Anderson and surrounding municipalities seem to think should happen. I was asked to be on the steering committee. I still intend to be. The first meeting I last minute couldn't go. Thankfully, Jenny was able to go. But I don't even know how to participate in that because even in truth, I feel like there's not a cohesive agreement on where we want to go. And that's half the problem what Jenny's saying. Really, if we had a planner, like a full-time planner, we could put together some kind of little marketing package that we could give to prospective development.
Well, it's the overlay that's been discussed that we haven't ever gotten anywhere on because of all the different things.
Even the comp plan, I mean, so one of the things that I suggested, and we can talk about this in the meeting if you want, one of the things that I've suggested is with the, village fair coming up, I know typically, like, somebody sits under a tent and from the council, under one of those little tents, like, for part of the day, usually Gary, I think he's mostly.
Oh, he does it with the community association.
No, is that what
We
it
don't
is?
have a tent now.
But I just thought it would be helpful to have, like, if any of our planning people were interested, if any of the council was interested in taking shifts and just getting out with like a little business card, maybe a QR code on it, that they can take a real quick, like 1 or 2, maybe 3 question, survey, get some engagement going so we can get an idea. I mean, during some of these festivals that are coming up, the beer festival is August, the village fairs in July, even like some of the fish fries or some of the, even at the baseball games or whatever, just local people getting an idea for like how they feel about the state of things in Lapel, what they would like to see in terms of amenities, what's important to them, what they would like to, what they think the priorities are, so that we can kind of get some kind of a feel for where we should put our proactive energy.
World's largest Buc-ee's, that's all we need.
Actually, I'm not opposed.
Will beat a path to our door.
Somebody needs to call them.
Yeah.
There we go.
No, and that's and this was part of the issue with LKQ. was when we did the comp plan, the way it was worded was anything commercial was supposed to be south of 38. Which meant commercial stores, restaurants, all of that, not giant industrial junkyard, things like that. And that's a twofold. One, if you guys weren't aware, our utility boundary is at 500 south.
Okay.
Beyond that, water, sewer are not ours. So, that gives us a different opportunity in that area because we don't have to provide the infrastructure. Currently, we are responsible for gas down there, but that's soon to be not our problem either. So, whereas, as we know, we have limitations on our water and our sewer and our storm systems, that if those were our areas, it would be very expensive before we could do any type of growth out there. The other being, the mentality of the steering committee back then had a lot to do with, well, 500 is also the boundary of Green Township, which is a change in school district. So the decision, or the mentality was that there wouldn't be any residential south of that area. That way, we kept families in our school district, in our area of control, all those things. So that's part of the original vision when the last was updated. And what we learned as we move forward with things like LKQ coming forward and a few other construction companies and things like that, the way ours is written leaves it open for anything commercial, warehouse, junkyard, all of those kind of things. So that was the eye-opening lesson that came out of that, was we need that overlay. What's the specific? How does it look? Is there a frontage road? And Oksana had begun to work on that and had a preliminary done for us, and then Oksana left. And
Do we
with
still
her,
have that?
I don't know that we were ever sent anything other than
She done it
basically
in a
it-
big presentation board in here at a planning
and like
meeting.
drew on it and did those things.
But there's,
It had Noblesville.
Yeah, it had examples.
I was gonna
She
say,
had multiple boards with, here's an overlay district in Noblesville, here's the comparison of how big that area is compared to Hamilton Town Center. Like
Right.
apparently South 38 up to 700, our boundary, we could fit Hamilton Town Center like 4 times.
It's not as deep as what you think it is.
is,
Like when she brought it up on those boards,
files.
it's only like a half mile deep.
Theoretically,
It's not
yes.
as
I would
deep
assume
as
it's their
you
property.
think it really is.
Theoretically, yes.
One of the things I really like about the way Hamilton Town Center is laid out, oh wait, is that an opinion? Should I be talking about- One of the things I really like about it is how they have mixed in residential. So people like I've noticed people lately, the last probably 10 years or so, really pushing for things to be walkable. They want to be able to get to the market, they want to
They
shop.
don't wanna have to mow their yard and they.
Yeah, and, or like
Well-
even the, oh, sorry. go ahead.
No, I just say the walking paths have a lot to do with that too. That's the biggest push right now in the city, is getting everything connected, because they have a path here and then they have a path here, but there's nothing in between.
Yeah,
So that's something to think about as you're looking at the comp plan as well too.
The walking path bridge in Pendleton is meant to be connected to all that.
That's what I'm saying, like,
The
Yeah, I was
current bridge to
listening to
McDonald's
that.
is what
Yeah.
it is.
well, that's something to look at too, though, since
they
we're
want
right
to
now
go
with
down.
county.
36th
With
Street.
town is like, get with Noblesville, which I can try to get a hold of somebody, and see like, what are they planning, as we're looking at.
And that's actually in our parks plan. Pathways.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you,
That
like,
we did right.
I wish sometimes that we could take field trips to go to other towns' planning meetings. Only because I think it's so eye-opening when you see how they operate, even like the next couple towns, like I wanna go to some of Ingles just to see what they got going on, cause I've seen some of
Tell you what, they
Pendleton.
got some stuff going on.
But I don't know, I just think that would be so helpful. And also I think, it would help to like drive excitement into town. I don't know. I just think there's this general feeling that there's nothing happening here.
The one thing that I would say out of the not knowing what to do with the 13 corridor, there's one thing that was always pretty prevalent when we had our original meetings and everything. They want to keep downtown Lapel.
Well, yeah.
You know, they don't want to tear it down and rebuild it like Fishers and Noblesville and all those things. So that was the determining factor in keeping business out there to help the core thrive, keeping all housing up here, keeping that buffer, keeping our farmland. That was from the original steering meeting. Now, we need to update it, obviously. The world has changed since then. But that, yeah, I still believe that's a correct path to go, in Chad's opinion, that yes, I would like to see that buffer stay, keep the, you know, it's like, if anybody knows, Zionsville goes all the way to Westfield now.
Mhm.
But you wouldn't know it because it's still half farmland. And they have development next to Westfield and they have development in Zionsville. So there's ways to keep that, because if you drive into, other than you can tell there's money there now, the downtown Main Street of Zionsville is just like a really nicely polished version of ours. Because they have the funds, they have the resources, they have all of that to be able to do it. Because they developed smartly and kept the buffer around the town, so.
Till a roundabout came in on 32 and you.
Well, you know, roundabouts are roundabouts. We're gonna get a roundabout August
I
Roundabout.
now.
mean, a couple of them, yeah,
Well,
eventually.
it's been pushed again, but
And then one last thing, and then I'll leave you guys off my list. I think we need a recruiting policy. And one of the things that I have seen is that the recruiting tends to be word of mouth, which is, here's the thing, I'm not immune to the fact that 90% of Lapel is related to 90% of Lapel.
when you say recruiting, I just wanna make sure, you're talking about for acquiring talent,
Yes,
whether it be employees, board members, anything?
well, board
Or-
members is a little different because board members have requirements, they have to live in
Right.
town, they have, so
And they have to kind of put a letter of interest. I mean, I know you can promote it, but they still kind of.
they have to be interested, they have to be willing to show up to the meetings and participate, they have to hopefully have some, they don't have to have experience, they have to have a willingness to learn. And really, there should be a better plan, in my opinion, to bring them up to speed on everything that's going on. Like, planning's a huge animal, and to just pick somebody off the street and say, all right, you're interested, let's throw you in there, and they have like no idea what any of this means. It's intimidating to ask questions. So I think there should be some way to kind of acclimate a person to what's going on in the board, and that should be really the responsibility of the people on the board, like the president, the vice president. I'm talking more key positions, like, no offense, Tim. Planning, town manager, if you do hire a utility director, I know at some point there was a conversation about that. Those are key leadership positions that even really some of the positions that you're hiring outside of town, like, if you're hiring a deputy or whatever, there should be an attempt to reach out to a wider pool beyond just the people that we know. We should be posting this on at least 1 or 2 job boards, maybe throw it out. Like, I know we put it on Facebook, some of them we put on Facebook, like the labor and the.
We have an
today.
Indeed account. I was
Yeah,
trying to look into it this afternoon,
but like, it shouldn't just be, well, I know so and so. let's
Oh,
reach
no.
out to them.
I've never done that with.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
It just limits, I think it limits the candidates, the candidate pool a little bit. And you don't really have an idea of, honestly, I think even just doing that kind of gives you a better idea of whether or not what you're asking for makes sense. Like, one of the first things I noticed is that the job description for your planner doesn't match your pay by any means. Like, you have a planner job description, or you have a director job description for planner pay. It's like not even matched up.
And that is our largest recruiting opportunity, is our ability to pay anybody.
Mhm.
or the lack thereof. You know, I am amazed every day that I wake up that we still have police officers when they can drive 4 miles from here and make $30,000 a year more. When a patrol officer can make more than our chief day one, it's very hard to compete with. And the problem is, and this is where everything kind of loops back in, because of our lack of growth business-wise, we have an excellent growth core of just population. But where communities make their money is in that 2% and 3% businesses, apartments, things like that. And you take a Chesterfield, for example, who is as close to us in size and population as anybody else in the county. And they have nearly double to 2.5 times the revenue that we do because they have a much larger business base. And that's they get more money for roads, they get more money for, just their general fund in general. Everything is based off of that number, at least currently until they change some more House bills and things like that. But your levy rate dictates how much road funding you get. Your levy rate dictates how much local income tax you get. You get all of these things that are tied to that one number. And ours is stagnant and actually dropping because we don't have those other sources of revenue.
Question,
Yes.
and this may be more of a question for William. Is there anything that the town, this is probably dreaming big, buy land, build building, and then sell it to a business that would be interested, like a big warehouse building, you know what I mean? Just an empty, open building that they could do.
I'm gonna say the closest I can
Same
get.
thing is RDC.
Yeah, redevelopment has the ability to do some things like that. We don't have anywhere near enough of the funding because we don't have enough.
I'm just throwing out
properties.
ideas of, cause then you have Nosel, you have Pendleton, you know what I mean? Those places that
Right.
are already looking, it's like, hey, we've already got the space built,
I think a lot of times they want
Does that make
something
sense?
to their own specs anyway.
But if
Yeah.
it's big open, they can build inside if they want. It's
You know,
a big shell, basically.
Several years ago, we had the folks that developed Grand Park approach us. Not for us to
No,
pay for anything.
it's a nightmare with the city right now.
But that developer approached us wanting to be able to put in housing in a strip mall and some things. And the problem that we ran into on that one was there was one property owner that refused to sell their one empty lot at the corner of all the things. So our opportunity goes beyond just what our boards and commissions can do. We have a very faithful level of citizens that don't want change in any way, shape, or form, regardless of the ramifications. So, and that's a hard part to get people beyond. There's a lot of, unfortunately, not just in Lapel, but you have this everywhere, where you have older generations that are very set in their ways and don't want to change, that are unfortunately, they don't realize it, but as soon as they pass, the kids go, sell it, I don't want to mess with it.
I'm gonna say this again,
And bad things happen when that happens.
but I'm gonna say it to you. Attitude reflects leadership, Captain. We spend too much time talking about what we don't have and too much time talking about what our stress points are, and not enough time talking about where we are. Like, let me give you an example. It is a fallacy to think that people take jobs for salary only. People who are well established in their careers, who've made their money, who have established stability, a lot of times they're looking for a challenge. And this is the perfect opportunity for someone who wants to come in and make a miracle, who wants to put their stamp on it. If you're marketing it as that opportunity, hey, it doesn't pay a lot now, but here's what we're looking to do, you will find the right person. If you're marketing it as this is a stable job paying this amount, somebody who's not there and not looking for that challenge and doesn't have the spirit that we need at this point in time, they're gonna look at you and think you're crazy because of what you're willing to pay. I mean, we saw that to some degree in the interviews that we did for the planning position, you know? And I think that goes a long way too with how we talk about even the citizens. I understand that people, they don't want change, but I don't think it's that they don't want meaningful change. I think it's that we need to explain to them that the core of who we are as a town is not going to change with some of these changes. We are not going to become Carmel or Pendleton because we're not Carmel and Pendleton people. We're not even Noblesville people. And we're not Anderson people, or we would live in Anderson. We're Lapel people. And as long as we hold on to the core values of what Lapel is, and first I think we have to identify what that is. As long as we do everything in that vein, I don't think you'll get as much of the pushback. I mean, Teresa, you've lived here your whole life. What do you think? Do you think I'm off my rocker?
No, to a certain extent, no, because there's newer people coming in. The core people, even 6 years ago when we first come on, they're changing. Some of them are not here anymore because it's aging. Lapel is aging and it's coming in with the younger people and you and I have talked about that before, how there's more younger than the new housing additions, there's more younger people. I got 2 houses for sale right on my road and it's younger people with young kids that aren't from here, that they don't want to live in an HOA over in Noblesville or in Pendleton. They want to, live
We
in
moved here in
this.
2012. I mean, everybody on probably 3 to 4 houses down from us were all older.
Mhm. And those houses have since sold and there's young people with kids in there.
Can I tell you what people our age and older want more than anything?
I just want to hang out.
They want
What a nap.
they want their kids to have a reason to stay here and thrive. So if we're presenting the changes that we're making as an avenue to give their kids a reason and a way to stay here and thrive, I promise you they will get on board.
Which to go along with what you're saying, that's what these housing additions, when they were built over here, they are people I went to school with. Because our parents all lived here in town. When they built those houses, all those kids I went to school with, that we laughed because a lot of them were teachers out here at the high school or the elementary school or whatever. But several of my friends live out there because they wanted to stay closer to their parents. They love Lapel. They love growing up in Lapel. So, I mean, and to me, now we're getting to my son. My son lives 1.5 miles away from me. We were talking to Diane today. Diane's kids, one lives close, but the other one lives in a whole nother state. And I'm like, I can't imagine my kid, wanting to move that far away from me. And I mean, it's just.
Exactly. I mean, but there's gotta be things here that they want. They have to perceive that there's opportunity. They have to perceive that there's stability here. And if we can explain to the people who are struggling with change, if we can employ a little bit of change management, explain to them how the changes will benefit them, I think we can overcome a lot of that. But we have to stop talking about Lapel like everything is a fight and everything is a challenge. And we have to start talking about Lapel like everything is possible, because that is where we're at. We're not at a position where everything's impossible. We're in a position where right now everything is possible, and we have an opportunity as a town to determine what our town looks like in 20, 30, 50 years. Okay, I'm done.
One reason I came is, I think there was a vision that we would have transformational change here, that the existing people would welcome and like, but was also catered to creating more opportunities for people to come in and grow. So all of that I really like.
I mean,
And I don't disagree with it. There has been attempts over the last several years to try to get us in the position where we can be better suited to help. I almost said the word inflict. Inflict is the first word that came into my mind. That is not the right way to do change. Effect change, yes, not inflict. change. But there have been opportunities that we haven't been able to overcome. That is where we do need that new talent. We do need new people to come in and help do that, because, just like a prize fighter, after you get punched for 10 rounds, you got to find a way to make it through, round 11 and 12. And that's the biggest opportunity. I signed up to be on the council because I came to meetings and I went, there's two people there trying to make a difference. They need somebody to help them. Because at the end of the day, the saying is, it's one vote. Well, 3 votes makes a bigger difference than, 2. And that is the thing that got me on the council. That's the thing that brought me in. I'm like, I can help get things moving and going in the right direction. And I still feel that way. It's just as you go through the scenarios, it gets harder and harder and
I
harder.
get that.
And that's the biggest thing for me. It's not that I'm not gung ho that we have a great opportunity here. It's that I just know, okay, there's 22 speed bumps in the parking lot. I've found 20 of them. If I can just get past those last 2, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean, because I did the same thing you did, and we come on at the same time for the
Yeah.
same
And
reason.
And what'd
get
she
that,
do?
And
Good luck.
I'm not discounting it. I'm not. Please don't think that I am. I know that to some degree I've been a source of some of it. I'm not discounting that
Sorry,
at all.
Ted died. Don't mind me. I'm fine.
Breathing's overrated.
It's,
But I will say, like, especially what Dan can do for us, and I've been saying this since I got here. We've got to start talking about what's good that's going on, what's good that's happening, what we're working on that's going to show up in a year or two. Like the email that you sent out about remind me, stop.
oh, the thing in front of Ice Cream Plus,
Yeah.
the safety light and the crosswalk.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
safety light and the
Yeah.
crosswalk. I mean, I get it. That may not happen for like 2 years, but it's something to talk about. It's something that's happening. Every little thing that's happening that's good.
I'm asking, is that
The-
through the state?
That's through the state.
I thought so, I just was double checking.
And the only, this is gonna sound terrible. The biggest problem that we run into, and it's having the balance of being able to communicate with the people correctly. That crosswalk, for example, that is on the books to happen. Just like the roundabout that was supposed to start in March. You know what I mean? When it's something that's outside of our control, there's a time frame where we have to, and this is, I would admit, something I'm not good at, is finding the positive way to communicate. It's still supposed to happen. We don't have the control over it,
Mhm.
but it's supposed to happen. And we're gonna hold out the hope that it's still gonna happen and not go the way of, well, the state had a budget cut, so your crosswalk got done.
Right.
And then it turns into, all the council does is lie to us because
Well, you know what, you
they
guys
told
thought-
us something to get us off their path, and then it turned out to be, the problem is there is that level of cynicism and negativity that is so much more prevalent now than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, everything.
There is.
That we're here right now. We're a big cabal out to, we're all lining our pockets for millionaires, Teresa's got a horse farm, all these things that it just makes it harder. And I know I have to get better about going through the negative and still pushing the positive, because there's only so much negative that you can take before it gets that hard to do.
I find that you focus on the small wins and the quick wins first, right? That's how you generate momentum. If you can get 1 or 2 things going right, you can build on that. But
Like
you
unplugging a phone.
yeah, I mean, I'm just being honest, I keep going back to that parks meeting. I've been to 4 parks meetings now, and 3 of them, they were just depressing. I mean, they were like basic, like, how do we pay for mulch? And wouldn't you say the last meeting, just the energy was so different, just having, here's some ideas, here's some, just having some new energy there. Now, do those things take work? Do they take follow through? Can't be all talk? Yes, absolutely. But it just takes like even getting one thing going in the right direction to remind people that there are people that care. And when they see that there are people that care, you'll start seeing more people that care. You know, I mean, just my thought process. I know, what do you think?
I think we gotta, as a town as a whole, we just gotta think outside the box somehow. If that makes sense. Like, I've even said this at where I work at this parks, it's like, we do the same thing that Carmel or, you know what I mean, or Westfield's doing as activities or whatever. Somebody's gotta come up with something different to make that draw, if that makes sense. Whatever that is, something different that nobody has either done or been able to get done. Maybe they had an idea, but they couldn't finish it.
And I think we need to stop seeing roadblocks as the end of the line. Roadblocks are not the end of the line. They're just reasons to become resourceful. You know, that's another thing, is like, we have a tendency to think, look, you gotta start thinking like a broke mom. Okay? When I first had my kids and I was, you know, young in my career and I didn't have any money when something broke, I didn't always have money to run out and get somebody to fix it. And sometimes I didn't have money to get the right part for it. And I had to MacGyver that thing. However, I had to MacGyver it to make it hold out. And nothing is as
I just
resourceful.
picture Elmo with his arms taped on.
Look, I'm telling you, I
It's red
learned
duct tape.
how to repair every appliance in my house. I learned that there is an appliance service manual inside every appliance. I didn't learn that because someone told me. I learned that because I needed a stove. And I thought, well, we're gonna take the cover off and see what's in here. And lo and behold, there's a freaking book to tell me how to fix it. You know, I mean, like, I'm not kidding. Like, that's the mentality we have to have. Like, okay, we don't have somebody to do this today. Well, we got to figure out how we're going to get it done. And it doesn't mean because we don't have somebody to do this or we can't afford to do this that we just say, well, it doesn't get done. And sometimes, you know, when the community starts seeing things move forward, they'll jump in and help. And when they have enough good things to look at, the negativity will get washed out a little bit and it won't be so painful because people won't have as much time to pick apart everything we're doing. That's my thought process. I don't have 6 years of hard-won wisdom like you guys do. You know,
Just had more.
Just yeah, she's fought more battles than the rest of us. What else we got?
We'll say on this topic of, like, I like the form submission. I think that's for, but
Inflict.
Yeah. I think a spreadsheet, and I would be good for current projects that we've got going on, but where also you cannot put, it's just action item only. Like, I did this today, follow-up needs to happen with this person here. My original thought was we also put something like that on the website or on where the public can see where we are in certain projects, but I think unless you've got two separate spreadsheets, you can't really just have one that the public can also look at. But I had a good example of this earlier. Like the Comcast, like the right stuff like that. We have an agenda item, like here's the topic, here's what has taken place so far, like actioned, voted on, all these things, here's documents. It's work. It's not just gonna be easy, but there's a way to attach like a PDF document for something. That this was completed, whatever, here's where we're at. And I think what you were talking about not too long ago, there's a actual, it's not a SharePoint, but there's an actual Microsoft document that it's a lot better than what just a collaborative spreadsheet, but you can assign action items. It's like, this is the next person that.
Oh, yeah,
It's gonna take
my
action,
boss pops things onto my phone all day.
I know what you're talking about, kind of like a task, right? Like a,
Smart something, I can't
Yeah.
remember what it's called, but
It's like Smart Sheet.
it's smart, that's it, smart sheet, but, to that where we can just go look at a project, so we don't have to like dig through an activity log, but the activity log is absolutely great, because I'm sure you can like sort through different things, but this would just be like current things that we have going on. Once they're done, we just like close it out.
So public works projects, or
Yeah,
would
like-
it be, what other things?
I think for us, like as far as us all staying on top and like knowing where something's at, like, oh, William's gonna be doing this, or William's waiting on this from this person. But I mean, I would love to have one public that the public could see, like for a water project, things like that would have been lovely, but
Any document that we create is going to be a public record so that they'll have access to it. So I only say that to say, having it a public record, maybe not a terrible idea, since they're gonna have access to it anyway.
yeah,
So we're talking about larger projects that the public has
Yeah.
questions for you about.
I would say that.
Not, hey, we had to buy a new motor for the leaf blower. This-
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one for the
Those are the
Yeah,
best
that was
days,
what
though.
I was gonna ask, are we gonna log
It would
because
be-
so-and-so called and complained because,
We're,
I just mean like, for a project, if someone called for the water project to do, I don't know.
I don't know that
the
there's,
Comcast project, I'm gonna say that would be a good example, something that this week, they completed this section of town. You know, they're done drilling through that area. Something along those, something that's gonna be drawn out for a while. So, or, hey, they're out doing the roads survey this week so that we can get a paving grant, or, you know, something that's, hey, we got the paving grant, hey, we're gonna be paving 3 miles of road, or,
So
sounded good.
we did, and
Bring
Chad,
on.
we did talk about this, we just haven't implemented it yet. We talked about it before, it was kind of in an email to all of you, like a weekly, these are the highlights. Would that be okay to start with? Because then we could build on once we get this sheets, maybe then we can build on that to do the big updates.
If like you have that weekly update, if you do that and it has, we worked on that or however that works, and then that becomes kind of our template, then we can build out off of it. You know, it could become a living document where there's a link to, hey, click here, and then that becomes the link that is to the document that goes into the agenda, something along those lines, to where it can be a progression, if that makes sense. I might be, just because I said it doesn't mean I know how to do it.
I've seen it done.
I know you can have a link and it can open, but something along those lines to where it becomes that, hey, here's this weekly update, we got this document in, we'll discuss this at the next meeting, or, you know, the famous reach out with questions, you know, individually, if you see the thing, but.
It does sound like you're describing, we would set up a team. And so I would have like a Comcast folder and set up a team,
Yeah,
and then every update we get, we would put in there. So if someone asks you about Comcast, you can click on it,
you can click on it, go, oh.
and here's everything. Like everything we've done, yes.
Yeah,
That's what you want, yes?
yes,
Now, I also don't know exactly how to set that up, so I don't know what the timeline would be, and
somebody at my office is figuring it out, because I get stuff all the
if you have
time.
some kind of a project management tool that assigns tasks and things like that, there should be a place on it where you can filter by project. So you literally just filter by project and it gives
And
you.
say, Microsoft Office has the team section where you can
I
create a
hate
team.
teams, but okay, yeah, I get you.
The guy,
We already paid for it.
the one guy we have present might be able.
Just about any
Oh, yeah.
database
That's what I
can do
had
this if
notes
you
on here
create
to
a
ask
field
him
for it.
about how, if he could.
Just answer the questions, I guess is what I'm getting.
Well, the other thing is we also have included is Microsoft Planner. Planners, like, that's the thing my boss uses to send me stuff all day long. Is, hey, I need you to do this thing. And then, so I do it. I upload the document, or I send hey, I put the thing in this order file or whatever. And then it dings for him and says, hey, Chad's marked this complete. He goes in and looks at it and I go, thanks. You know, one of those kind of things, but it keeps it all in one place. You know, so like, I'm not part of the design team, but I know where to go if I need information on the project. So,
So leading into the agenda, I wanted to ask a question about this, because I think about our agenda. I think about how it comes out, what it takes to prepare, what it looks like, and some of this may seem administrative, but from the public's point of view. So like, for example, like Teresa said, are you asking, like, we're gonna log every call? I don't necessarily know that
Diane
that's.
does, just so you know.
I figured she probably
She
did.
does.
But you know what, maybe, and if it's not a huge job, you know, when we give the report out on the office, we had this many calls this week, and this was the primary issue people were calling in about. It would be nice for us to know that, you know, or this month, this was the primary issue people were calling about, because it may clue us in to like, hey, like, we didn't communicate that very well last time, so next time we've got to, or, you know, hey, there's an issue that people are calling about that. I mean, I know you do that already as it's ongoing, but also I think it gives people some kind of insight into,
A summary of,
like, that they're not just sitting there twiddling their thumbs
Well-
all day. They're like getting, you know what I'm
You get
saying?
2 calls of one thing and 50 calls of the other, maybe the one that gets 50 calls, something we need to put higher on the priority to
Yes,
figure out.
that's what I'm
she's
saying.
trying to do.
We do, if the
But,
girls
I
start
mean,
getting
if
a
it's something
call,
we
that's
have
the
to-
same thing. They're like,
Yeah.
But if it's something we have to take care of as a council, that's something we can go ahead and move up, I guess, is what she's thinking.
Even if it's just like, hey, we didn't, you know, next time we do that, we need to make sure we get something out, or, you know what I mean? Or, and then here's the other thing, like, take the water, for instance. Have we had any, other than the week we flushed hydrants, have we had any complaints, official complaints at town hall about brown water since they did all that cleaning in December?
maybe only one person, and she didn't make an official complaint.
So, do you know, like, maybe when Brandon does his department head readout, since that has been such a point of contention for the last 5 years, you know, Brandon can say, we had this many, you know, water complaints this month, and we checked them, and this was the reason, or, you know, we had 0.
I think he told us at the last meeting, or told you guys at the last meeting, he hadn't had any since October.
There you go.
So, I mean, he,
I would say that'd be maybe good to put on the newsletter too. 'cause there
That
a
was where it was
corner,
headed,
the
yeah.
police corner, one section of like how many calls for service for the month and then for the year. I can't remember.
Just like, I look at his report, his calls for service report, and I appreciate that, you know, he puts that together, and
well, the information comes from dispatch. So based on the,
like, other than the fact that I'm appalled that somewhere in the 10 square miles there was a stabbing, you know, it really doesn't tell me much, you know?
it
but-
does on ours.
I would love for him to say, you know, in his newsletter corner, hey, you know, we got some new furniture, it was donated, and we made a plea to the RDC for money to fix up the police station, because it looks like a homeless encampment,
he
and,
did tell about that.
She's talking about it in the newsletter.
Oh, in the news.
you know,
Yeah,
but
Yeah, his little
Okay.
corner of the newsletter.
that's what I'm saying,
Kelly's
like,
corner.
that's the kind of stuff that,
Okay.
like,
Kelly doesn't have that much room.
the
And
town
Kelly
needs to
doesn't usually get
see,
to put what's in there.
they need to see, we fixed the water. You know, because that's not what they hear when they look on
Anywhere.
anywhere. But the truth is that there's not any complaints, other than the week we had the fire hydrant.
Which is when you would have.
I was one of them, I will admit.
That you complained, you call and complain.
I called Opie, I'm like, why is my water so orange? And she goes, fire hydrants. I said, well, you would think if I can't remember, then probably half the town doesn't remember.
Exactly.
And it started all day long. Why is my water orange? Why? Because we're flushing hydrants, but it was posted several places and on Facebook.
Yeah.
Does it cost us to do those phone alerts? Just like text alerts?
It's done through, my work order program. I
Flushing
can
hydrants.
And I did that, like when we were flushing, do you get it?
Mhm.
I thought you did.
Yeah.
I don't know who gets it. I mean, we need, put it on that newsletter
It was on
and
there.
add that on there.
Mhm.
If you're not on the text alert system, we can add you to it.
Yeah, I
And
think
it will
was an
send
email.
emails too.
Yeah. Cause you get an email and a text, but
Yeah.
along, we have a good newsletter. It's just the time and like the information to put on it, like bare bones are good.
Here's what I'm taking from, what Christie's talking about. It should be easier to fill the newsletter faster if we're uploading this information and getting things instead of, oh, I forgot that we did this thing, or, you know what I mean? Because if you're pulling, whether it be the call log report or the police department report, if you're just pulling information from sources, it's way easier to put together filler.
That's what,
For lack of a better word.
for several months, there was no newsletter because there was really nothing put in it.
Which there was probably all kinds of little somethings
Yeah.
that could have turned into,
I would love to see us have a way to recognize employees as well.
So we
When,
talked about doing an employee spotlight on the newsletter.
yes, when they're doing hard stuff, when they're overwhelmed, when they're doing something really well, when they're making a difference, there should be a way. When somebody served on a board,
The attorney should be.
you know, and now they're done, we should have a way to thank them for the time that they put in, you know, and recognize that.
Just a couple ideas when you're talking about that. I know the park in the past had, my park where I work, they put in like a photo of somebody and kind of like, you know, they like to spend time with their family, you know, just a little, that seems to be
Blurb on
blurb
Facebook.
Facebook, yeah, a little blurb. But there was
me and the
some
Bassett
I
Hound.
say uniform questions, everybody got asked the same questions, right? Or the whole city has a thing like, it says act noble, that's their motto lately. And it's an acronym for something, and I don't know it off the top of my head, but basically it's like, so-and-so acted noble, they went out of their way to help this person, or, you know, and there's no picture, it's just, and that's in the employee newsletter that we get through the city, so that may be something to think about.
Like, I don't know what Brandon was doing last night, but I will tell you that 7:00 at night, Brandon was
Cutting down a tree.
driving the backhoe at a high rate of speed down Vine Street.
Those don't go at a high rate of speed.
It was, cause I got a complaint.
They only go
But
20
My
miles an hour.
comment,
It looks fast. Town speed limit. Yeah, it
No,
looks
those
fast.
things have a road gear in them, they go faster
New
than
logo
20,
looks
but.
fast.
But the point was, I said to the person, you know what, I'm not gonna say anything to Brandon about 7:00 at night driving the backhoe a little fast, considering he's probably been at work since 7:00 this morning, you know? But people don't think about that, like whatever he was doing last night at 7:00, I promise you, he had something else he would have rather been doing.
Mhm.
And, you know, I did see somebody put a thank you out to him on Facebook, but honestly, it would be nice if there was a way when somebody does something extra like that to be able to acknowledge that, you know?
It's pretty easy QR code to set up around town
Yeah. You know, if you catch an employee doing something right,
or on the
Put it on chatter.
oh dear Lord. But
You
you
have to
get,
put right in like really bold letters. There's some right. Crickets. No.
but I mean, I see things sometimes, you know, I'll see people stop at the park occasionally, I see the guys stop at the park occasionally and just pick up trash. Just on their way to the, you know, I mean,
And I know our guys are busy here in town, because there's not that many of them, but our biggest thing at our park was ingrained into us was, if you see a resident, whoever, out at the park, don't hesitate to like smile, say hi, you know, maybe strike up a short conversation. It's just that welcoming of the,
that should be every employee.
Yeah.
Every employee.
they ingrain that
That
in
should
us
be an
hard, you know.
expectation.
And our boss would never get on us for spending 10 minutes talking to somebody.
I talked to Chief about that. That is one of my biggest frustrations with the police, is that every encounter with a person that doesn't by nature have to be a negative encounter, should be a positive encounter. Does that make sense? Like, that should be an expectation. There should be an expectation for public engagement, in my opinion.
And that's one thing we had, I can't remember how long ago it was, but made a point that we want most of the officers at the village fair, at the events.
Not looking like they're miserable to be there. Yeah, because they look like they're miserable to be there.
When it's 100 degrees and you're
Yeah.
wearing all
It
that
is.
stuff, it makes it difficult.
Ignoring pit bulls that aren't supposed to be, I mean, I'm sorry.
And I think we need to enforce the dogs.
Yeah, agreed.
If you're not carrying a puppy in a pouch,
Or in
Purse.
a little purse.
yeah,
A stroller.
yeah, like,
Those are cute.
they are.
So if I'm walking around Village Fair with a Basset Hound that's this big,
As long as you
stroller.
have it in a little papoose
Give it a
bag.
Yeah,
backpack.
or you're
carrying it, or you're carrying it.
that's what I mean, if I'm carrying it. There's,
Put 'em in a stroller.
the year that we had the big flood, I'm surprised I didn't end up on the news. So it flooded into the house and I was trying to get the dogs out and the news turned up at the corner and they were filming, but they were turned at just the right angle, because what would have happened is they would have been interviewing these people, and here's me in like waist deep water carrying a basset hound to a car at the road, and I would have been on every news broadcast in the country. I just
Chip, are
never-
you sure you wanna rebuild this place? 'Cause it
Oh, no, it's
sounds like-
great. Everything's great there. Everything's wonderful.
Anyway, I think that's something that when we talk about like generating excitement in town, we have to also generate excitement
Yep.
among employees and staff and stuff too.
Even my boss at work, he's implemented, if you're gonna come in with a complaint, you gotta say something nice first.
Do we have, I know when I had talked, I think it was you I talked to once before, and I said you can't do like random contests or anything like that. Is that all has to be, remind me how that works? That has to be like a vote or something?
What are we talking about? What kind of contest? Give me an example.
I don't know, just like who gets the most compliments in a month, or, you know, hey, so-and-so worked a bunch of volunteer overtime at the last
Oh,
minute.
yes. So typically, the situation that we run into is if we have a reward system that doesn't have like a set criteria, whoever gets the award will not have as pleasant an experience with the people that don't get the award.
But there's
If
not,
they
like-
don't know the criteria.
but
well,
there's
how do I
not
get it?
anything wrong with like, if one of us wants to come in the office and buy lunch for everybody in the office that day, it's not like, you know,
As far as I know, no.
problematic,
just-
or same with if we wanna buy lunch for the guys at the shop, or,
Nope. Those are inclusive things. They include
Everybody in that department at least.
versus, hey, Brandon was out there chopping up that tree. Here's a Chipotle gift card.
do we do any like, staff events? Like, we have a cookout for them in the
They
summertime.
have a few pitches
take
and
'em
things
to
that they do
dinner.
throughout the
We just had
year.
one
Pitch-ins or work.
last month, we did a, what'd we do? Did we do pizza last?
I don't know, I wasn't invited.
Me either.
Not the
I know what she's
pizza
saying, but it was like,
part.
you know, like at the city, like we just did, like they did breakfast, it was breakfast sandwiches, you know, somebody catered it. It was, then they do like an ice cream thing in the
The
summer.
guys,
So-
they will, any medal they get, they will, turn it in down at, and get money for it. And they use that money to then buy themselves pizza.
That's why we had.
See, that is
Then-
broke mom thinking right
And
there.
then, usually at Thanksgiving and Christmas, we usually try to have one big pitch in, not this last year, but the year before, like Brian rented
Oh, yeah,
the
that
Lions
was-
Club and
Everybody's
everybody
smorgasbord.
came and, well, not everybody came, but like most everybody came that could come. Like Roger, I think you had to work, so you couldn't come because we've done it during the week, but.
Are we allowed to do that? Like if for a social thing, as long as, what's the rule on that?
And
Like, can we all be in the same place for a social thing if we don't talk about
Yeah.
stuff?
of course, yeah.
Like, we could all be in the same restaurant at the same time, but probably be a bad idea to be at the same table. But,
Very bad
Well, I
idea.
guess what I
Very
mean-
bad idea.
very bad idea.
I guess what I mean is if the council decided we wanted to do something nice for the town staff and we wanted to host a cookout where they didn't have to cook food and pitch it in.
Well, some of those people
Would that
love
be
to cook.
allowed?
That,
Fair enough,
Yeah.
but as
I
a
love
wife, I can tell you
Yeah.
pitch-ins are work.
but
Usually we don't do those too much. As
Yeah.
far as grill, sometimes the guys will be like, hey, we're gonna grill burgers tomorrow, and usually, used to, when it was just me, they would just bring my plate up to the town hall because
Aw.
I couldn't, I didn't
Yeah.
feel right shutting down town hall, but now we just, whenever they'll come in one day and be like, okay, we're grilling out tomorrow. We're just gonna do chips and Mike's gonna grill the hamburgers and hot dogs. So,
I don't know, it just seems like they're gonna have a crazy summer.
yeah,
And it would be nice if we could do something to
So-
appreciate that.
Wild idea. Get with Ice Cream Plus. I'm just throwing out, give, what I'm saying, like, hey, go get you some ice cream and whatever I don't know, put on tab or prepay, or I don't know, an idea.
I would just not wanna pick a specific business without like.
Oh, I
seeing-
get your
Well, I was
point.
thinking summertime, though, you know, something.
Yeah.
The cold
Hey,
treat.
today, let's all go get ice cream. Let's go.
I don't know the best way where you see where the interest is, like,
Right, but I'm just saying something like that, you know, get with them and say, you know, hey, here's a flat rate of amount, here's what a, or.
They'll pick packs.
yeah, I mean, I had tried, oh yes, I would.
And I love that you guys wanna do that, but how do I pay for that?
Well, that would be our next
Yeah. we'd have
obstacle
to have the-
to overcome.
What accounts it come
That's
from?
why we do it from, yeah, that's why we just do it from the money for the metal and honestly, they didn't used to include us, but they started including.
Metal tire now.
It just seems,
Yeah.
it just seems like, and I, you know, I don't know, you guys, maybe this is something we talk about when we do budget. It just seems like there should be money set aside for that.
Not the kind of thing we can spend taxpayer
I'm talking
money
about a
on,
lot of money.
yeah,
Mm,
but can't spend taxpayer money on it. So,
So we just have to find a way to raise money besides metal.
yes,
It does us,
Donations.
it does them pretty good, I mean, about every month or every other month,
there's different ways to do it.
we probably won't
Right.
this summer, because we're, what, three weeks into May and
Won't
one
stop
week
raining.
into Comcast, and
That's what I'm saying.
they're
It's
not
be
gonna have
crazy.
time to
Right.
Do
do
anything.
It doesn't have to be in the summer, we're just thinking of something because of what's coming up the road here quick.
I mean, when people get burnt out and they get tired and they get stressed, if you're not checking in, if you're not reminding them that you appreciate them, especially if you can't pay them what they're worth, they don't last.
There you go, talking negative again.
No, I'm not. I'm saying like, this is
Well, that's a
what
fact.
mom thinking.
I know.
Pensions are one thing that, like, my team just got too big at the hospital at one point, not now, but the pensions were their biggest, the thing they talked about the most in their
Mhm.
annual surveys is like, we do pensions, and a lot of things sucked during COVID, but we do pensions, so,
We enjoy doing pitch-ins.
yeah. I think,
I mean, Opie makes the best dip and
so as long as
Lisa
they've got
makes
good
the
cooks
best
in there.
cake and, I mean, we really
You guys
do.
all have your own dish that, I mean,
Mhm. Like at Thanksgiving and stuff.
I bring rolls from Texas
Yeah.
House.
that's your best dish.
That's my best dish.
Yeah.
I know my
As long as
limitations.
you get the cinnamon bun.
Yeah.
But
They sell that at BJ's now.
What they do. And the rolls
Yes.
they sell at Walmart.
What?
Oh.
Frozen, yeah.
Are they good?
I do.
No.
I don't know.
I gotta
Even
go
the
to Walmart
Texas
again.
Roadhouse ones aren't good the next day. You
It's
have
hard
to
to
get them.
replicate, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is, like, no. The butter from there is good, though. Make your own roll. Anyway. At one point, and it's been a while, because Daniel was here helping me brainstorm it, but I think I'll talk to Mark about it as well, but like highlighting businesses, all the businesses in town. And not necessarily highlight, like picking a spotlight, but just having something on our website that's got a picture of them, who the owners are, where, like, hopefully they're local. If they're not, that's fine too, but just like having somewhere where you can go see what all the businesses are and what they do, like maybe they have a weird name, like Safety Tech for the longest time. I mean, I knew kind of what they did, but not everything that they did. But just things like that, we had started that, and then I think we put it on one newsletter and no one replied, so. But I think if I bring it up to Mark, he may have some.
I think it'd be cool if we could highlight, like,
Yeah.
if we have some centurions or Lapel just took it hard the last couple weeks with, you had some big elders in the farming families that passed in the last, couple weeks. I couldn't believe it. Like, it was like one right after the other.
Within 45 minutes.
I mean, it was a lot. And actually, we had one, a Coverdale that passed also, elder out of Frankton. So it was like, those have been staple families in the community, for a long time. It'd be nice to be able to honor them before they become an obituary. Just a thought. If there was a need to fill a space at some point. But I just think we need to really work on like, how can we highlight what's going right? How can we highlight what's good? How can we highlight what we can make happen versus what we can't? I don't know.
Can we have an unofficial Facebook page where we can post stuff like this? Because I know like on the official town, you can't really do.
Can't be associated with us in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Well, but you could just post,
You can post whatever you want on your own page, like I can post whatever I want on the Pelham
yeah,
Record.
but I don't put a lot of people on my Facebook page. So, like,
2 people in.
yeah, like, if you're negative.
I was gonna start posting the stuff on the Pelham Record myself until Dan came along and I thought Dan might be better equipped to do it. I really suck at the tech stuff.
Yeah, so that's what was nice with Daniel Paul, he would put stuff like notes, like articles from the meeting. He would just post stuff, and it was kind of like people followed that on Facebook about stuff that was going on.
Yeah,
I had a thought before I started talking about it, like what you would put on there, but, because we have to have, when we want to put something on there, like there's a meeting notice for this, we have to have Daniel put it on there. And it's not that we want everybody to have access to go to post stuff on the official Facebook page, because that's not good.
He's not, I mean, I can too,
Yeah,
and so could Kelly.
why do we, okay, I know ultimately why we have comments turned off. We get a lot of flack for having comments turned off.
I'm not dealing with those comments, so
But we don't have to interact with the comments.
I think that's worse.
Mm.
It's just a can of worms. It's the same caution that, I never post anything on Facebook that says anything to do with this town. Because as an elected official, it's a slippery slope to what is all of a sudden,
We learned,
Yes.
if you post anything on your personal Facebook or even your on record, that's anything to the town, your personal email basically merges with the town's email.
Yeah, that's all bad.
Yeah.
All bad.
What do you mean, a personal email?
Like your personal Christie Worth, or not email, Facebook page, sorry.
Mhm.
Your personal Facebook page, if you start posting things about the town on your personal Facebook page, it causes
It
it
becomes
to merge. It
public
becomes,
record.
Yeah.
Your personal account becomes public record.
So my understanding was that I could post anything I wanted as long as I made it clear that it was me posting it and not me posting it as the town's official statement.
right, you have to, you need a disclaimer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then even at that point, so that would be the legal defense, is that you have the disclaimer, but you still run the risk of making the town liable, just the
Anything
nature
any of
the
us say as employees or elected officials of the town can be construed as the voice of the town. So,
perks of the job.
yes.
I mean, that's like, how would any elected official ever comment on what they're doing to their constituency if that was the case?
You can go to a public political page.
I think it's not that you can't do it, it's just these are the challenges when you post, that it could be. You would have to release it, right? If there was a
Right.
document and we
And
weren't successful in arguing that it was personal.
yeah, it would come down to, we would make the legal argument like.
Oh,
that would be-
I'm not talking about on like my page is public.
Right, but
Yeah.
but if,
Like anybody can see it anywhere. They don't have to ask to be accepted. I
right,
do have one person blocked, but
Representation, right?
Only one?
I can
Yeah.
unblock them.
so like,
They get on my nerves.
it's not necessarily that in that case that you would, like, you'd have to turn everything over, but it's that your actions, even with the disclaimer, can make the town liable for certain things, just because you're an agent of the town. And like, sure, you put a disclaimer. you're not
Like if
doing
I
it on
said the
company
town
time.
should do this,
Yeah, it 100%
then you're
could make the
saying
town
that can
liable.
make the town liable to have to do it.
And then a judge might say, we need you to release access to every Facebook Messenger message you've ever sent, every conversation that's ever been linked to your account. It is, so,
Yeah, I keep all that very separate. That the lapel on record stuff is entirely separate.
it's one of those, it
It's
leaves
a
you a room
liability.
for liability. It's a massive liability.
It's been 2, maybe 3 years ago at one of our AIM conferences. A big name lawyer out of Indianapolis put on a class because of the possibility, you're laughing, but I don't understand.
No,
why.
I'll tell you after.
But put on a class and it was basically, you don't want to go and comment on other things, and you don't want to make comments on your own because you can actually get your town sued or your city sued by comments you make, because it can be perceived as you're speaking as. And they said, yes, you can put the disclaimer, that's how I know about the disclaimer. You can put that disclaimer on there, and that's what they'll use to fight it. Doesn't mean you're gonna win.
Yeah,
So I've always just made best practice. I try not to comment on any, they even said, like me, like I have someone that shares stuff. If I put something on the town's Facebook page, I text them and say, hey, can you post this?
yeah,
Because even me sharing on the chat or something for the town, then that automatically links me.
and most of the stuff that I do that to is not, like Alicia's the one that posts all the stuff, like the what do you call that? The agendas and things like that. I think the only thing I put on there about it was the, open seats on the boards. Just, that was it. But anyhow,
Well, we've had a good, hour 40 minutes so far. Does anybody have anything else? I think we have some great stepping off points of things to work on. For sure. Like the form. I like the form.
so would it be, here's one of the things that I do want to ask real quick, because these discussions are awesome to come up with ideas, but really if they don't turn into action items, they're kind of pointless. So that's not something we can do? We can't create action items and deadlines and things like that in a workshop, right?
Like, it's action items as far as like
Like if we're gonna do a form,
we can talk
who's
about,
gonna do it, next steps?
yeah,
what
we
we're
can talk
gonna-
about that because we're talking about policy and how we're going to enact these policies to make us run more efficiently. So like in that vein, we can have thoughts and opinions on that kind of thing, or how we're going to implement it, who's going to start it, things like that. That's all.
That's kind of
That's
what I
all
was
good.
thinking.
Yeah.
Like is that something that if trying to think of how to say this without, I know in the meeting, we had talked about possibly coming up with a paid position for an IT person.
Mhm.
Is that something that we would, that
I
would be under
think
that
so.
purview or one of us?
I would say on this one, the information that we gathered here today, there's many things that if that person were in the room and taking notes, probably has a good idea on, that we would be coming to them for,
Okay,
that builds into that, what would we want, what would our expectation be?
yeah,
So that will drive us in the direction of getting that person engaged and helping us. We wouldn't be able to say, well, we're gonna give that to that person because they're not a town employee.
Right,
they're not
right,
anything.
right.
But that is if you and a Jenny said, we're gonna work together and come up with that so that we can present it to the council, then by all means, you can say, yes, we wanna do that. So that we can then implement those things through that person once we have them.
What's
Does
it?
that make sense?
What would be the time, what would the timeline look like from thought to inception if we decided that's the route we wanted to go with that, with that in that position?
So we would have to determine if it's a contract-based, professional service. That will go much faster than if it's an employee that we have to add to and amend the salary ordinance. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So that's if you guys come up with a roadmap, send that to legal for him to work up a contract based on that, then get it in front of us to vote on,
So Denny and I work on that. Okay.
because then that gives someone to at least hand off, all right, we know none of us are building a form on a website. If you're doing that, along those lines.
Okay.
Versus I would say, okay, Chad, you're the liaison with the police department. Can you work with Kelly to get information that would be great from their department to go into a newsletter? Whether it be something about activities, something about an officer, a new tool they have, remodeling the police department, Lindsay being the liaison over the office, what's going on there, talking about, we're hiring I don't know all my new phone's ringtone.
Are you the liaison over the office or is that Jenny now?
That hasn't really existed for a while.
I'm just using the example.
Yeah.
See, I don't know because I know how it worked before we had Jenny and I don't know this is where I struggle. I don't always know how to get things going.
Lisa works for Jenny.
Okay.
Diane works for me. The
Right.
accounts payable will work for me as well.
Okay,
She would be the liaison to the court treasurer's office, would be kind of not necessarily the office, but that would be get with the department heads to pull things together. If Gary's not available to liaison that with utilities, then, it'd be, Jenny, can you get some stuff? Can you pull that together? Then who's the information going to? Who's collecting the data to go to a newsletter? So, it's sourcing that, okay.
and we're okay to put something together and send it to legal without the council approving it first, even though that makes it.
What you're doing is you're putting something together to send to him to create the contract based on that. That contract would then have to be ratified by the council.
But that's okay, even though that creates a bill. Like, see, that's where I get nervous. I don't know what I'm allowed to do because I don't want to engage somebody without authority, if that makes
Gotcha,
sense.
we just don't pay him. No, just kidding.
Alright, I'm gonna.
No, but that's one of those, because we've already had the discussion about it in a council meeting, beyond this,
Okay.
that is something that legal is aware that we're engaging, so it's not gonna be a surprise. Now, the surprise would be if, he comes back and says, well, that's gonna take me 100 hours to work on. That's where it'd be hey, Chad, William's saying it's gonna take this long to work on that, and then it'd be like, okay, well, then we need to engage, because there are times where we engage our legal for a special project, that we have to have a
Subcontract.
subcontract, a bid, basically to take care of.
Is there a DOA? Like,
I don't remember.
the delegation of authority, is there a certain point where we can make decisions, like, without, I'm trying to think out, like you were talking about in the parks meeting about, I can authorize an expense up to a certain
The
amount.
board has to approve, I think, the expense, and to a certain dollar amount, Katie can do it, and then I think I can do up to a certain amount, and then over that, the whole council.
Yeah, a department head, that's our whole purchasing policy.
Yeah, it's in the
Okay.
purchasing policy.
So,
Would you like
and
a
then,
copy of that?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
it's really well
Just
written.
because I'm always scared to like do anything
Mhm.
outside of asking
I'd like to
someone.
have it too.
You can send that to all of us.
Yeah,
Outside of
refresh our
asking
scene,
someone
it's been so long.
because I don't know what I'm allowed to do.
There's a
and I
form
don't-
and everything.
So lately I've just been doing a lot of asking, like I'll ask for forgiveness if I'm not supposed to do this, I'm just gonna do it.
It's you can't engage a professional service. So if there were contractor sitting there, out in front of us,
Mhm.
you can't engage them in, any contractual obligation that would be outside the realm of what you could do. So if you had if $999,
909, like for Katie, it's $999. I'm gonna use you as
No,
an
that's fine.
example.
Yeah.
For Katie, it's $999. For you, it's $4,999. Anything over $4,999 has to go to the full council.
So like, when we were talking about the window cleaner, I
Yes.
couldn't engage someone to come on a monthly basis to clean the windows, but if I called somebody and said, will you please go over there and clean the damn windows, is
You
there a
can
certain dollar
authorize.
amount?
As a
can-
one
You could authorize the one time,
That's what I'm saying.
a long-term contract would have to come before the council.
Okay,
Is that a good?
gotcha.
Yeah.
And like, what's the maximum amount for a one-time expense?
$4,999.
Which God, I would never like.
But
But
that's
you-
where you have
You have to
to,
work with me to make sure we got money somewhere
Right.
to pay for.
Not
the
just, hey,
window
here's
cleaning for
$4,900.
$4,900.
No, I would not. but
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I
the
get
checks
what
and
you're saying.
balances of
Yeah.
it,
Window
yes.
cleaning made me think of it, and I wrote it down.
And there's a form you'd have to fill out.
For like
too.
HVAC and window cleaning, is it worth looking into possibly doing like a service agreement contract kind of thing? I'm thinking especially HVAC, they come and check it every year, you know what I mean?
We have one with,
Okay, I didn't know if we even had one, I was just throwing that out there.
yeah, well, I won't say we do, we did at the old building. It was Guston's, they left, and then the
Right.
new guy who put the,
Actionaire, whatever. The guy here in town?
no,
It's probably whoever
his
took
name
it.
just totally,
but
anyway, they put the new one in, we did a contract for
Okay.
service on it, but the one at Town Hall, that's on my list for tomorrow night to talk to you guys about. We need to get one for that because it's starting to bang and I don't know what's.
That's why I wanted to ask, I didn't know if we even had something like that already in place, not necessarily for that
And
building,
like,
but
is
just
there
in
one at
general.
the
Yeah.
shop? Is there something?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
There's-
it seems like
We have
all of that.
generators and all kinds of.
And that's why I was wondering if
service
it's
agreements.
worth-
We have
you know,
different
trying to-
service contracts
Really?
with them.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can't engage a vendor in a long-term contract. You have the ability within your purchasing power to approve a one-time situation. And then if something's big enough, that's where I have the power to declare an emergency to be able to take care of the thing. So like when the air conditioning went out at the old town hall, that was
I remember.
declared emergency, get the thing fixed, so the ladies don't cook.
So,
We did.
like, for example, does anybody know the Waterworks building has been damaged, the roof has been damaged since I think the tornado in 24. Does anyone know, like,
The
is that
old
an
building,
insurance claim or, no, the building, the actual Waterworks building?
the actual, our fancy one?
No, the one by the
The
tower,
one by
you
the
mean?
tower, yeah.
Closest to the tower.
Oh, the
Oh,
old building.
That's the old building.
Yeah, I think that's just storage or is, used to be Swayze used it for something.
Yeah, Swayze used it, then it was the meeting space for the water project. I don't know what they have in there now. I don't know.
But
I don't know,
And
it just,
had no idea
I
the
just
roof was
noticed it
damaged.
today.
it looks awful, and I'm
I was at the
surprised
park
it's not leaking.
Doing some.
So it probably is.
And water does some damage if it's
Right.
unchecked.
That one's
Sort of putting the roof on.
But the reason I was asking is that's the kind of thing that's like, who's in charge of that kind of stuff? Is that an insurance claim? Does somebody handle that? Does that, do I just call Teresa? Because Teresa does
If it's
it.
an insurance claim, yes.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, is there, who would be in charge of something like that?
That's the kind of thing where a department head would reach out to their liaison, or so like utility, a Brandon or an Opie or whoever, you know, if it's sewer, they would reach out and say, hey, we've got damage and the roof is leaking. Okay, so a Jenny would reach out to somebody, hey, and get that, hey, we need an estimate to repair that roof.
Gotcha.
Then it would be, hey, can we get this approved as a one-time expense, or is it a high enough dollar amount that we need an emergency, or
Does
do
it
we
go
need
through
to?
insurance?
Yes, does it,
You missed that.
yes, does it go through insurance? Is it ours, like when they try to make us pay for the fire department's roof,
Yeah.
debacle that was.
This is actually on a whiteboard somewhere that we needed a procedure, to your point, to just kind of tell somebody new.
Yep.
Who does what.
Well, it goes along the lines of whose responsibility is what, I think,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Like just breaking down some of that stuff. I mean, to even just to like what department, you know what I mean? Or like, what is the process? Like, do we need to write a process for what happens if there's damage that would go under an insurance claim like that?
Sounds like we need a lot of SOPs.
I mean, I know SOPs seem like
Oh, no, SOPs are important.
they're time consuming, but they're very helpful when you have changes or they can be helpful for a lot of other
Yes.
reasons too, from a liability standpoint.
As somebody pointed out to me today, if you get hit by a bus tomorrow,
I hate that example.
but there's a lot of knowledge in Chad rattling around up in here. And so Chad's been busy writing SOPs at work.
Your infinite book of
My
knowledge.
Here-
infinite
here's the
book
problem
of
with
worthless
SOPs.
knowledge. So, but
I've written,
Start doing them.
I've written SOPs. I think it might be a good job if we had a committee, because it can't just be me bugging everybody.
No, I mean, I just mean like a template, like.
Start.
Like, all look
Like a
similar.
groundwork.
I created a law enforcement agency in my previous life, so I can do it. I need cooperation and time.
Well, let's
But
assume,
it's a priority, because we have, like we're talking about, we all need to know who does what and how it's done.
We need the knowledge.
that was definitely on the old whiteboard.
let's assume we have
It's there.
cooperation, but I would say though, if there's already some existing SOPs, like I know Teresa's done a lot of work to try to get some of that established for her position, you know, then that's a good place to
Right.
start with, hey, we've already got this, if we're gonna format it or something like that.
Right. And in a perfect world, you have the subject matter expert, the person that does it every day. And you should, you know, to the cooperation, you know, I hate when I'm asked to make an SOP because it's just like, why do I have to write this down? So yes, I even fight the cooperation level on my own. But that would be something where, okay, person running the water, if you could write down every step that you have to do this, what are the steps? So that we can have it in a nice book, so that when you retire, somebody else can learn how to do it.
You know,
And
one
hopefully they
thing,
don't forget us, I'm just not thinking about it.
Yeah,
when you have somebody doing SOPs, one of the really good opportunities in that is to ask yourself, as you're putting those together, why I do this. Because if you don't know why you do it, you may not necessarily need to do it. And
And
if
be very productive. In my former life, all of my employees had a job manual that they wrote and they updated annually.
yeah, that's the other thing, you have to keep it updated, because it does no good to spend the time and energy if it's
it says here, go to
no
the fax
paper
machine.
documents. Everything needs to be electronic, no paper, please, no paper SOP.
Well, I don't have a problem with an SOP being on paper, but not just paper.
Yeah,
They-
right.
Paper's
Be
your
able to
backup.
update
If your
it.
computer screws up or that file.
But it's
I'm just
a-
saying, like, you've gotta be able to, without retyping the whole thing, to
Right.
make a change.
Yeah, you have to know where the digital original is.
Yeah.
You can't take a copy of a copy of a copy and then
Yeah.
go, all
But
right,
if
I'm
you
gonna
update
edit
it, then
this.
you print a new one and replace
They're
it.
typing the whole thing, so. But yes, that is definitely, you know, that was one of the things that was identified before, is that we don't have the things on paper of, not even the simple things like who replaces the doorknob, but how do you run this plant? How do you do that? What's the process for,
To the point, I think they've done one at the wastewater plant at that time, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I'd almost
Gotcha.
guarantee they have to have
Mhm.
one, I'd almost guarantee that's an
Yeah,
audit.
and then they each get a copy of it once it's.
I wish people could see, I'll tell you, one of the probably most informative meetings that I had was going through the waterworks with Brandon and Opie and seeing what the inside of that building looked like.
the
and
lab?
how technical it was and how, like, it was so clean. And, you know, I don't think,
It's cleaner now than it ever has been.
but I'm just saying, like, and I don't even think people realize that's where all the magic happens.
Mhm.
Like, in that little building, you know?
And we have very good compliance results.
Yeah.
I mean, at water and wastewater, we have very good results, and I think one frustrating thing is that is not the information that most people want to talk about or
Right.
gets discussed.
And to that point, without having the procedures on paper for other people to be able to follow, we're that good. So it's just more reason to show, yes, we need it on paper. It's being done correctly so that people in the future know how to do it correctly, so that we don't lose that level of knowledge.
That's just like me at work. I mean, it's me and one other guy, and both of us leave where they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, so like water and wastewater, there is a template for item, and we take that and we submit our MROs. And then what we need to do is fold in exactly like where this is kept. You know, what do you do with the MROs when you're done? Well, for us.
They go
we
in
send
cabinet
it-
number 7.
Yeah, and you send it to UMAC, you know, so for some of those departments, I don't really the impression like we have no procedures. at those places because, we do have very strict compliance.
When I look at an SOP, I'm thinking like Chad's, like somebody is gone for a week or something happens, they take a leave. for
Turn
whatever
on
reason.
machine.
Somebody can come in
Mine
and
is
fill in
literal.
while they're gone,
Yeah.
it may take them, but they
Yes.
can read step by step of what they do for the
And
day.
that's literally how mine is done.
Yeah.
It is literally enter
'Cause that's what I had
twice,
to do, yeah.
continue twice.
That's what I had to do this winter when I did my SOPs, was step by step, and I had to go back through and like, I would go through and do it, like, not do it, but like walk myself through it and be like, oh, I forgot this step, and have to go back and add it.
Even silly as it sounds, but even something as simple as just a piece of paper taped to the top of the laptop that says how to set up the live stream. I mean, we went through hell and high
Thanks,
water at the planning meeting, you know what I'm saying, trying to.
I started it, and like 5 minutes after I left, did a restart.
Oh,
But I'm just saying, like, that would have saved a phone call and it would have been
Right.
so much less stressful and.
Well, hey, the good news is the software vendor is jacking up the price. We're gonna have a completely different software and process. And
Well, but
when I get the new
Another
one,
SOP.
I'll make the sheet, yeah. But hopefully it won't have the weird security requirements.
But just saying, like, anything like that we can do to make things easier for everyone else to be able to like pitch in and help and not have, like for a while we had Brandon coming to all these meetings or Teresa having to come to the meetings that she's just to set it up, because the rest, nobody that went to the meeting knew how to set it up.
Well, normally they just turn it on and I remote in and set it all up, but
But then what
I was
happens
local that night and didn't have my
Yeah,
laptop
what
with
if
me.
you're not available or your Wi-Fi goes out or your computer battery dies or there's a million points of failure there. That's all I'm just thinking, like, in terms of, how we can just
It'll be so much
simplify.
better when we're not setting up and tearing down everything too.
Well,
that would be nice, but that's a long ways away, it looks like.
Yep.
question about that. I have a question about that. And when we had that meeting, and I understand now is not the time to do a $600,000 reno or whatever, but we asked at that meeting, what is the bare bones minimum you would have to do for us to be able to meet there? And they said at one ADA bathroom for like 20 grand or 30 grand. Is it worth it to do that?
I don't think so, because you've got all the architectural fees, all the planning stuff, all that, you're gonna have to go through and have redundant fees to do it again or in phases, so.
One of the things that there are Okra grants available, public meeting spaces, multi-use facilities. So, that is something that we can look at for that. Obviously, RDC has some funds that we could probably push towards that. So there's all kinds of things. There's
Food
the,
and beverage that just
yeah,
donated money here.
that could just as easily donate money to us. So the things that we have to be able to do is go through on something like that. Like one of the discussions, and the architect has been busy and we haven't sat back down and met with them, is, okay, what's it cost to just take out the vault? If the utility guys build the dust bowl.
Oh, I thought they already did that. They didn't already do that? I thought they did that as like a phase one, just the vault.
Yeah, they gave us a.
Oh, they did?
Whoa,
Oh, but there was,
whoa,
no,
yeah,
but there
then
was,
it
there was a
stuff in
huge
it that-
charge for remove the carpet, and there was,
all
they
these
went into all
charges.
these other things that we needed to go back and go, okay,
Yeah.
we can pull up some carpet. You know what I mean?
Well, the good news is it's on the first floor, right? I thought it was in the basement.
No, well,
I thought the vault
it's-
was in the basement.
Yeah.
the vault is a
Yeah,
giant
it's right
concrete
next to,
bunker,
yeah.
so,
That,
But
that
there's-
would be the ideal first phase, would get that vault out so we can put 3 offices down through
play
there.
the puzzles,
And then,
move with the empty
then the
space.
meeting space over to the other side, so.
Then that opens up that office, is that your
Plus
office?
pizza parties,
So
correct.
we can open
Yeah.
that up.
Yeah.
Move it
I mean,
Well, we
I
still
was
have the roller
just thinking,
coaster
like, if we were ADA, if we had an ADA bathroom just in the short term.
So,
The plan I saw.
There's
Probably
there's
change it.
yeah, there's a
4
whole
or 5
bunch of different
plans, and I didn't
Yeah,
like the
the
last
offices
ones
to
they
open
did.
up more.
Right. But that is something that, yes, we have other irons in the fire right now that we'll get to it. It functions for right now, but for the future of Lapel, we need the space, we need the more professional than this, even though us being here is doing great things for them, so.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not
William,
saying-
were you here for the rainbow chairs?
No,
Oh, there was every color of 1970s chair in the world was in this
And
building.
they did tell me they're gonna get,
Sad I missed
different
that.
chairs because these are not holding up as good as they thought they were going
we do have a pretty solid drainage.
to.
That's one way to call it, yes. But. All right, what else, anything?
I did have one thing. I didn't want to interrupt the flow. I could.
It was a good flow.
Speaking of. But to your point earlier, like all of you guys can come to legal and not worry about a bill because, you know, our contract is, you know, regularly conducted business is just all lumped in. So don't feel that it's cost prohibitive to ask questions. You don't get
Well,
billed
good,
for
because
that.
I think I bothered you quite a bit. Not as much
You
as
are
I did
not my
Evan.
most needy
Not as
client,
much as I did
Roger.
Evan. I bugged him a lot.
Am I not as good as Evan?
But like
Yes.
asking you to write a contract is normal course of business, or is that like actually versus a
Yes,
question?
normal.
It would be we need you guys to do this full review of all of this, so like the merger is a
Yeah.
separate bill.
So let me ask this one quick question, because I'm still learning all this. All right, and then I'll
No,
ask
just
you.
messing.
The contract situation. So let's say that we decided to use a contracted person for IT. Would we have to, like, are there rules that we would have to look at multiple people and multiple? How does
So
that
there's
work?
different rules for professional services,
Okay,
all right? So, we're 150,000 on professional service? Oh, is it 50? Oh, yeah, okay. 150,000 on other things is the bidding and,
like construction stuff. right?
so
That one.
there's a $50,000 limit on professional services that we don't have to bid unless it's gonna be over that.
Okay,
$49,999.
$999.99, yes,
okay, that's what I
$50,000.
wondered.
So yes, small, professional service contracts we can do. Typically with, if it falls within the dollar amount that someone is authorized, then it's just the council has to approve the contract to make sure that it protects us. That's the only real main thing, but someone can approach, discuss. Once we have a contract, the two parties can go through that, go to the council for approval. All done.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yep. All right, anything else? Well, do we have the motion to adjourn this thing, or is it just,
Yeah.
all right?
I'll make it.
All in favor?
Aye. Thanks, everybody.
Didn't know where to wait.
Very productive.
Teresa, remind me
I
to
feel
tell you,
good
I
about
gotta
it.
tell you what I was laughing at.